This is a radiation chart. I think this is a radiation chart. We'll see if it comes up here momentarily. It's interesting, it's not as bright again. Well, maybe it'll brighten up as it burns in. So this is a live radiation chart of various centers all over North America. To put this in perspective, people who work with radiation, X-ray units and stuff like that, they wear badges and they don't have to worry until the radiation levels are 100. Look at Vancouver, downwind of us. It's 11. Okay, we're over a week later. It's interesting that the West Coast is here. All week, Denver is being in the 70s. Now it's 36 and 25 is coming up a little bit. So the question is, why would Denver be higher? Well, first of all, elevation creates radiation. This is why even a flight between LA and New York is 2 chest X-rays because it's high enough, or to Europe it's 7 X-rays, for heaven's sake. So it does do that. But that's partly traveling through high atmosphere for radiation. So height would do it. We're higher than, not in Denver, but we're higher than Vancouver. But you can also see the radiation right now, even at the coastal level, is pretty high. Here's New York in this area in here. But some of the most toxic soil on the whole planet is in the Denver area. I don't know if you know, but there's a triangle of military facilities around the Denver area, and the U.S. military is outside the EPA jurisdictions, and so they can dump anything they want to and not get a fine, and they do. And there's a section just outside of Boulder that's considered the most toxic soil on the planet, because anything they don't know what it is, they just dig a big hole and dump it there. So you're always going to have radiation there. It is kind of sad in some ways. It's some of the most beautiful country in the world, and after all, there's a Stargate there, isn't there? That's what I've been told. But the point here is that you're always going to have high radiation in that area there. So literally we're over a week later and the cloud never came. I still have people coming in telling me the cloud's here. But these are live, and again, they're reporting. As some of you know, we have a facility in Japan. We have a product line in Japan, and I've been talking with my colleagues over there. Right now, 150 miles away from the plant, north of Tokyo still, so it's not even as far as Tokyo, it reported 16 today. That's even less than LA, right? That's less than Seattle. So even there, it's not that big a deal. So I'm not suggesting there wasn't a great disaster there. There obviously was. But here is a chart to put a comparison of what's going on. And literally, each one of these are various radiation things. And I'll pass this around so you'll be able to look at it. If you take all of these, it equals one of these squares. All of these squares equals one of the red squares. It's not an emergency until you get up to the red level. Okay, that's the equivalent of what an X-ray technician or a pilot radiation levels they get to. It'll become problematic. But literally, that's exposure to 100 rads is a significant level, and we're nowhere near that kind of background noise. And that's literally what these background noises, even in Japan. The other thing that I thought was very, very significant with this whole thing is that how egocentric we are in North America. It's not a big deal because nothing happened to us. Everyone was worried about getting the potassium iodine and protecting themselves instead of worrying about the poor people over in Japan and try to work out some kind of aid thing for them. Which is fairly significant. You know, we're a little bit self-centered sometimes, don't you think? So I think that's important. For me, more than anything was training wheels. One of the things very simple training wheels is, we know that we're going into a time of chaos nodes, as a lot of people say, so it might be good in the next week or two when potassium iodine is really cheap to go out and buy a bottle or two and stash it just in case. Myself, I've opted for just using the pure iodine because I know how to use it and I have that available to me, so 1 drop of ordinary iodine is good unless we're under really major function. And I have seaweeds and stuff like that, and I'm quite comfortable with the seaweeds as a phenomenon, especially with the level of radiation we've had. But to me, it really shows what we were talking about before, how fields function and how they become a function unto themselves and how they can get a little insane. I started talking about it a little bit last week and kind of got preopted by the whole thing that happened in Japan. And I really want to go a little bit deeper into it. There is a network called the Pachamama Alliance, or the Pachamama Network. And it's a group that's trying to work on the dream that the Amazon Indians have. So the indigenous people of South America have said that the people in North America are living in a dream bubble, and it's virtually impossible for us to get out of that field. But because they're outside the field, they can see our field. And that's a known theory and a known to work. But it's pretty astute for them to say it. They're not trying to say that their dream is perfect, but they're trying to say our dream is problematic. There's think tanks all over the world. Certainly most of the big companies have these think tanks about future. Shell Oil has, Exxon does, IBM has, and stuff like that. And there was a council a little while ago on this, and there was several people that attended it because all the models for all the companies show that we're in deep doo-doo. To say the least, we're 20 to 30 years out of annihilation of our species on the road we're going right now. And they can change it. They have thousands of parameters in these things, and it doesn't matter what they change in these parameters, it still comes down to we probably won't make it to 2050 if we keep on the pathway we are. But the thing is, they're trying to figure out what to change. So this one futurist who heads up the Pachamama Alliance, she brought a group of these think tanks to a group of indigenous people in South America. Now there's many philosophers around who have said that this getting out of this problem takes a combination of what the indigenous people think and what we think and blending them into a new dream. So literally, while you're in a dream, you manifest what's in that field. You have to get out of the dream to do that. And that's very interesting what's happened this last week with the radiation thing. The mass consciousness goes really fast, and whenever you see that, you have to be able to see if you can step out of the dream for a while and check in with yourself to see if it's real or not. That's hard to do. As I pointed out last week, certain flower essences can help you. Rescue ER is specifically designed for this, or a specific ingredient in that is flower essence of red clover, which is useful to have around because it makes it so you don't lose your head while others are losing their heads around them. So be able to check in with yourself, is this real? I'm suggesting we're going through a bumpy road over the next 4 years, and there's going to be a lot of chaos nodes, and as we go through those chaos nodes, we should not reflect too fast. There's no reason we shouldn't go along with the crowd. Sometimes it's important, but we should be able to check in to see if it's a part of just mass consciousness hysteria, or it's our own dream that we want to go with. But more importantly, the Amazon shamans say we can create a new dream. And when they put the new dream in the model, they find out we're not in deep doo-doo. It's the only parameter so far that has worked with this. So this group of industrialists with the indigenous people of South America have put together a marketing plan around this. Go figure. Amazon Indians hiring some of the top marketers in the world to market their plan. It's the only thing that'll get into our dream.